Let's see, question number 13. How many number 16 SF2 fixture wires can be installed in trade size, 1¼ IMC conduit? Okay, guys, this is easy, okay? This is a conduit fill question, and you should know this about conduit fill questions. When it gives you the same size and same insulation of wire, what page can we turn to find the answer? Anybody know? Comment before I actually turn there. Come on, I believe in you. Where do I have to go to find the answer to this? Guys, I beat you. NXC. NXC is where we need to go to find this answer. Okay, how many number 16 SF2 fixture wires can be installed in IMC? We can go to NXC. Okay, I do see a couple of people saying you go to chapter 9. Okay, you could go to chapter 9 theoretically, but NXC is the table that we go to when a question gives us the same size and insulation of wire. Okay, so we're gonna go to IMC, right? IMC conduit, which is C.4. Okay, we're gonna go to C.4. Not compact conductors, right? Make sure that we're at the IMC, and we're looking here for SF2 wires is what we're looking for. SF2. Where is my SF1? SF2. Everybody see that? Maybe you can't, and I apologize for that, but we see SF2. We see size number 16, just like our question. Okay, so we have our row, which is this middle row here, but now we need to go to 1¼ IMC, which is here. So we line up our column and our row, and it says 47. So therefore, B, 47. Is my final answer, okay? I see a couple of people saying B. I see some people saying D. Does anybody, do you realize why the answer is not D, okay? SF2 is our type of wire, SF2. Our size wire is 16, which is this middle row, and we have to line up our row with our column, and we therefore get 47, which is option B, okay? Got to make sure that you can answer that question before licensing exam day. Guys, remember, conduit fill, there's two different levels to conduit fill questions, right? There's the conduit fill questions where you have the same size and insulation, just like our question here. Anytime you have a question like that, you go to NXC. When it's a more difficult question where there's multiple sizes and multiple insulations, we have to go to chapter 9, table 5, and then chapter 9, table 4, which I think we'll get to in this set of 10. Blake says, where can you buy this book? Okay, it depends on what you're talking about, brother. This book is the 2026 National Electric Codebook. I go to the NFPA website, and I just got it from there. There's probably other places where you could get it, but honestly, I don't know. I'm telling you where I got it. If you're talking about my book, A Comprehensive Guide to Passing the Electrical Licensing Exam, which is what I'm teaching here every time I go live, you can get this in the TikTok shop. Go to my page, swipe right, and you will see this book available. Let's see what we got here. It says a 200 amp service feeds a dwelling unit with aluminum conductors. What is the minimum size grounding electrode conductor? Okay, guys, this is definitely in my flashcards. For grounding and bonding, you should have 3 tables memorized. 250.66 helps you size the grounding electrode conductor. Article 250.102 helps you size the grounded conductor or the bonding jumper. And then Article 250.122 helps you size the equipment grounding conductor. I look at this question and I immediately know, let's go to Article 250.66 to find our answer. It's going to give you a table. Here it is. Hopefully you guys can see what we got going on here. Hunter K, thanks so much for the follow. Guys, I see a lot of people saying the answer is B. Let's see if you're correct. Grounding electrode conductor for AC systems. Guys, we size the grounding electrode conductor based on the size of the largest ungrounded conductor or equivalent area of parallel conductors. But Aaron, I look at this question and I don't see ungrounded conductor size, right? All it's giving me is the overcurrent protective device, right? Everybody sees that? So I cannot answer this question purely based on this table, but I have to answer the question based on the information given in my question. I have a 200 amp service with aluminum conductors in a dwelling unit, right? So you guys need to be able to know, right? I can go to table 310.16, which is the mother of all tables. I have aluminum conductors, right? It doesn't give me the type of aluminum conductor, right? But normally, let's say it was THHW, right? So, or THHN, or no, THW, and let's go with that. So I'm in the 75-degree column. I would go down to a wire size that has at least 200 amps, which would lead me to 250 kc mil. But pause, it says it's in a dwelling unit, right? So I can go back in 310.12, single phase dwelling service and feeders. Guys, you should have all these tables highlighted in your code books or memorized in your head. Okay, for a 200 amp service, we can use 4/0 aluminum conductor. Okay, 4/0 aluminum conductor is my minimum size conductor for my question. 4/0 aluminum. So now I can go back to 250.66. And now I'm going to go to 4/0 aluminum, right? 4/0 aluminum conductors. I can either use number 4 copper or number 2 aluminum. Now this is where the question gets unfair, okay? I am going to say that B is my final answer. Number 4 is my final answer, not D, number 2. 4. Some of you might argue with me, and I totally get that, right? But when the question does not specify, you always have to assume copper. But Aaron, the question did specify aluminum conductors. Yeah, but that's for the service conductors. That's not for the grounding electrode conductor, right? If the question doesn't specify, you have to assume copper. Or in this case, if the answers don't specify, we have to assume copper, okay? Therefore, B, number 4 copper, is our final answer. Kyle, I had a similar question and it confused me because it was in the other than dwelling units, okay? So it's similar, yeah. So that's super important. So Kyle, for you, in your case, you would go to 310.16 and you would have to remember, yep, I'm not in a dwelling, so I can't use that table. I can't use 310.12 because this is specific to single phase dwelling, service, and feeders. So instead, what you would have to do, Kyle, you would have to do what I said earlier, where you would, with a question like this, it would be unfortunate because all it gave us was aluminum, but I would still use the 75-degree column and I would say, well, 250 kc mil is rated to 205. That's the minimum size, right? 250 kc mil. I'd go back to this table and I would find 250 kc mil aluminum. 4/0 or 250 kc mil, and it would actually lead us to the same answer in that case for this particular question, okay? Thank you for your work, says MTZ. I appreciate it. Guys, thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate it. Guys, we have 250 people here right now. Guys, if you're not following, make sure you do follow. Drop a follow, drop a like, drop a share. We're trying to help electricians get ready to pass their licensing exams. Guys, if you don't know about my book, it teaches you how to pass the licensing exam. It's a small book, but it will prepare you better than any material out there. Make sure you go to my page, swipe right, and check it out if it's for you. But for now, guys, let's move on to question 16. Where an individual branch circuit supplies a stairway chairlift, or where a stairway chairlift is supplied by batteries as the primary source, it is allowed to be cord and plug connected, provided the cord does not exceed how many feet? All right, again, the first thing we do, this is my NEC navigation method that I teach in this book, 5 parts. The first thing we do is identify keywords in the question. Based on those keywords, we get a code article. Based on that code article, we narrow it down to a part number. Then we narrow it down to a bold heading. Then we start reading the text. That is the best and fastest way to navigate your codebook with speed and efficiency so you can answer every question with confidence. All right, so let's talk about keywords. We have stairway chairlift is the biggest keyword here. Branch circuits is another keyword. Batteries, primary source, cord and plug connected, and then we're looking for some sort of feet, okay? If you're new to this, I recommend writing down those keywords, but once you master it, it's all gonna be able to be done in your head, okay? Now, I know that stairway chairlifts is a specific code article. I don't have that code article memorized, but I do memorize chapters, and I do know that chapter 6 is special equipment or specific equipment, which is, I think, stairway chairlifts falls under that category, don't you? So I'm gonna go to the table of contents, and I'm gonna go to chapter 6, and I'm only gonna look at these bold headings until I see stairway chairlifts, which I do believe is Article 620, stairway chairlifts. Now I'm gonna go to Article 620 to begin my search, but again, we're not just gonna start reading the text, right? We have to narrow down our search, okay? Part 1, is general. I get to skip part 1. Almost every time you're going to skip part 1, by the way. Part 2 is conductors. Are we doing conductors where an individual branch circuit supplies cord and plug? It could be conductors, okay? Let's go to part 3. Part 3 is wiring, okay? Could be in wiring. Let's see part 4. If there is a part 4, installation of conductors. Part 5 is traveling cables. Part 6 is disconnecting means and control. Part 7, there's a lot of parts to this one, okay? This is where it starts to get tricky. Part 7 is overcurrent protection. This didn't ask about overcurrent protection. Part 8 is machine rooms, okay? And part 9 is grounding and bonding. Part 10 is emergency standby power systems. Okay, so again, let's look at the question, okay? We're talking about branch circuits. We're talking about it's supplying a stairway chairlift. It's battery powered as the primary source. It's allowed to be cord and plug connected, okay? So this is a hidden keyword here, okay? A hidden keyword. When you see cord and plug connection, that also could be a disconnecting means, okay? So let's see. Let's go to, I forget what part number that was. I think I'm inclined to go to part 3 first. If it's not in part 3, I'm gonna go to whatever the part number for disconnecting means was. Bro, do you even know how to use that book? Of course I do. Already a J-Man next year, going for the Masters as soon as 2 years hit. Well, good luck to you, brother. Okay, wiring methods, okay? Again, we're looking for something measured in feet, okay? We're looking for specifically cord and plug connections, okay? Elevators, cars, we're looking for stairway chairlifts, platform stairway chairlifts, okay? Does everybody see that I'm still under that same heading of wiring methods, okay? But I just skipped all the A's, B's, and C's that didn't relate to stairway chairlifts. What do I need to study for the aptitude test? Brother, I guess I'm not sure. Is that specific for the unions? Wiring methods, flexible metal conduit or liquid, okay? This has nothing to do, shall be permitted in a length of 6 feet, okay? But again, that doesn't have to do with cord and plug connections, right? Flexible cords and cables, that's not cord and plug, right? Okay, so now instead, I'm gonna go to disconnecting means. Remember, cord and plug connection could be disconnecting means, okay? Single disconnecting means, type operation, okay. Let's go ahead and read disconnecting means. It says, a single means for disconnecting all ungrounded main power supply conductors. Can you guys see what I'm seeing? Yes, you can. Independently, where multiple driving machines are connected to a single elevator, escalator, moving walk, or pumping unit, there shall be one disconnecting means to disconnect the motors and control valve operations. Let's go to type, because remember, we're looking for cord and plug, right? The disconnecting means shall be an enclosed, externally operable fused motor circuit switch or circuit breaker that is lockable only in the open position. In accordance with Article 110.25, the disconnecting means shall be a listed device, but there are some exceptions. Where an individual branch circuit supplies a platform lift, okay? Where an individual branch circuit supplies a stairway chairlift, or where a stairway chairlift is supplied by batteries. Okay, can you guys see that I'm now verbatim to my question? Individual branch circuit supplies a stairway chairlift supplied by batteries as the primary source. The stairway chairlift shall be permitted to be cord and plug connected, provided it complies with 422.16a, and the cord does not exceed 6 feet. So A here is my final answer. But guys, can you see, like, I had someone give me A, and the code reference they gave me was Article 620.21, okay? If I went to 620.21, which was over here, right? I read this earlier, but I wasn't confident because it wasn't verbatim to my question. I was able to go to disconnecting means and get a code article and exception that was verbatim to my question, so that I was 100% confident I'm getting this right. Guys, can you see the difference in the different code articles we got, from the one from the comments and then from the one I got from my navigation method? Okay, I'm telling you, the navigation method is gonna work so that you can find any answer to any question with, like, I'm 100% confident I got this question correct. How often do you go live? My service is so bad, I would love to watch you again, says Cam. Cam, I appreciate it, man. I try to go live every Monday and Friday. This Friday, I can't because I have a wedding, but every Monday and Friday, I go live. Brother, I post videos every day with similar content, but I also record these and I try to highlight them. So you're not gonna miss out too much, although I do agree, I love the interaction of a live video, because if you have questions, I can answer them up front, okay?